All right, there we go. Today's date is March 18th, 2022. In Hardeman County, Texas, I call cause number 11982 in the interest of Asen Riker Graves. What says the state?
Ready, Your Honor.
Present by audio and video is Casey Ford. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, present.
Are you ready to proceed?
I am.
All right. The court's file reflects that Alan Graves was served with notice of these proceedings back on November 15th of 2021. He's not made an answer and he has not appeared in today's hearing that was scheduled for 9:30, and it's now approximately 9:50, so we are proceeding to default. Ms. Kuntz, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Casey Ford.
Ms. Ford, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Ford, what is the full name of your child on this case?
My son's name is Asen Riker Graves.
Okay, and what is Asen's date of birth?
Asen was born on May 27th of 2020.
Okay. Do you have any concerns with sharing rights and responsibilities for Asen with Mr. Graves?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And can you tell the court a little bit about your reasons for concerns?
Yes, ma'am. Asen's father, Alan, has a history of being violent, and he has several instances and reports that I've given to the police where the same thing has happened between me and him. He actually is incarcerated at this moment for several arrests, including felony stalking on me. There's just a lot of things going on that make it very unsafe for my son.
Okay. And you have a protective order against Mr. Graves?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that protective order include anything about Asen?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Does it allow for any contact with Asen?
No, ma'am. I think it was actually for a certain amount of time, which might have elapsed already, but I'm not positive.
Okay. Do you know approximately when you obtained that protective order?
Honestly, no, I don't, because I have actually had two of them on him that were one right after the other.
Okay.
So one expired and I ended up getting another protective order on him.
Okay. And has he been charged with violating that protective order multiple times?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you believe the court should order anything regarding visitation for Asen with Mr. Graves?
I believe that if Mr. Graves does get any type of visitation with our son, it should definitely at least be supervised at first. And I also would love for him to take some anger management classes, maybe, or something.
Okay. do you, because of some of the history with Mr. Graves, with the protective order and violations, our office will be requesting a non-disclosure finding, asking the court to keep your information and the child's information out of the court order and not require you to disclose that to Mr. Graves. Do you have any thoughts on an alternate location, perhaps a public location that would be good for you to meet up for any type of visitation exchange that were to occur?
Yes, I guess it would depend on what town we would do it in. If we did it in Chillicothe, where Asen and I live, I think that Allsup's or Dairy Queen would be good. It's a nice public place and it's open, and I feel like it would be easy.
Okay. And do you have any concerns regarding who should do any supervising for if supervised visitation were ordered?
I would like to hope that it would be someone that Asen knows that he's close to, because I feel like it would be kind of weird for him to have a random person there supervising him and his father. But at the same time, I would definitely like to request that it not be his mother, Diane Graves. I do not believe that she will follow the rules or supervise him or them at all. She'll just let her son Alan do whatever he wants to do and take off with his son, and she won't supervise.
Are you wanting it to be an adult that you designate, but someone other than yourself?
Yes, ma'am. That would be great.
Okay. And is there anything more specific that you want to ask the court regarding what potentially gets ordered for visitation?
No, ma'am. I'll leave it up to the judge. I believe that she will choose what's in my son's best interest, as long as the person that supervises isn't his mother. I don't have a problem with whoever she chooses.
Okay. Now, when your son was born in May 2020, were you and Mr. Graves both living in the same home with him?
No, not at that time. We actually were having a home remodeled for us to lease, and it was supposed to be done before our son was born, but it was actually finished immediately after. So
Okay.
at the time when he was born, we were living separately in separate houses.
Okay, but you were together and both helping to support the child, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then at some point prior to Mr. Graves' incarceration, did you and he separate?
Yes, ma'am. We lived together in the home that I just spoke of until the end of May of 2021. So it would have been May 21st,
Okay.
2021.
And then at that point, did you and Mr. Graves separated?
Yes, ma'am. I moved out of the home on the 21st, and we both had separate residences after that.
Okay. And you've remained separated since then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you know when approximately Mr. Graves became incarcerated?
I believe it was at the very 1st of December. I'm gonna say the 8th or the 9th.
Okay. And would you like the court to order some retroactive support for the time period prior to Mr. Graves' incarceration in which you and he were separated?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that would be approximately May 21st, 2021 through December 7th, 2021. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, approximately.
Okay. Now, do you know where he was working during that period of separation prior to his incarceration?
Yes, ma'am. He was working for premium retail sales in the Vernon Walmart.
Okay. Is that also where he was working when you were last together?
Yes, ma'am. He got that job whenever, while we were together, and he was still employed there, to my knowledge, up until he was incarcerated.
Okay. And from your time together, do you have some knowledge about what his minimum income was each month from that job?
Yes, ma'am. He was paying child support on two minor children, and his income was around $2,000 a month or more.
Okay. And based on that information that you just indicated regarding the $2,000 per month and that he was paying child support for two other minor children, we did do some calculations for a potential retroactive support judgment of $2,244.64. Are you asking that the court enter a judgment against Mr. Graves for that amount and set up a payment plan for him to make payments on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else you believe the court needs to know from you to help make a decision regarding visitation or support issues on your case?
No.
And what health insurance is available for your child at this time?
At this time, my son has Medicaid.
Okay. I pass the witness.
Anything else you want me to know, Ms. Ford, that hasn't come up through the question and answer?
Yes, ma'am. Alan was actively harassing me before he before he was incarcerated. He was terrorizing me, basically, and the only reason that I am having any type of peace right now is because he's incarcerated. So the actual incarceration of him is for motion to revoke probation. So it's really not actually for anything that he did to me. It's because he was on probation before. So whenever he gets out, ma'am, I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but I just really, really would love for my son to be able to see his father, but at the same time, I want my son to be safe. And I can't be there because him and I have such a terrible relationship. We cannot communicate whatsoever. So I just really pray that you pick someone that has my son's best interests, and will definitely make sure that he follows all of the rules that you give him, because I don't want my son hurt. I do know that my son loves his father a lot, but at the same time, if it's gonna hurt him more than help him, I don't want him around him. I don't want to worry.
All right. Did Mr. Graves' actions, was he ever violent with you or the child?
Yes. Not the child, but yes, he was violent with me.
Ms. Coons, do you have a supervised visitation center in Wichita Falls?
I do think that there is one. We don't, I'm not familiar with it. We don't generally have it in our orders, but I've seen where private attorneys have done one. I think it's called BVA or BBA. I'll try to look it up. Let's see. There's something called BBA Family Monitoring in Wichita Falls. Oh, it might not be, we may not. It says, I don't know if we have anything for that anymore because it says on Google, it says permanently closed.
All right. I thought you had one years ago, but I wasn't aware that it continued. Okay. Well, based on the testimony and evidence, then I'm appointing Ms. Ford as the sole managing conservator. ASIN, I find it's in the child's best interest not to appoint a possessory conservator. I'm granting the request for retroactive child support at $2,244 and what was 64 cents.
Yes, Your Honor.
Requested to be paid at $120 per month. I'm setting child support at 0 right now due to Mr. Graves' incarceration. I'm not going to address any visitation until Mr. Graves has filed a certificate of completion from a court-approved anger management and batterers intervention, batterers courses. I'm ordering non-disclosure of Ms. Ford's address and phone number and ASIN's, any of their private information. Is there any relief I have not addressed, Ms. Kuntz? Responsibility for starting visitation or requesting visitation on Mr. Graves. Any type of restraining order, of course, will govern as far as I'm concerned, but I'm not going to make any order for visitation at this time.
Okay, thank you so much, Your Honor.
Ms. Kuntz is going to prepare that order for my signature, and I will sign off on it. There is a period of 3 business days during which anybody can request a new hearing. If someone does that, they get a new hearing in front of Judge Byrd, and he would start over and make his own decision. But if nobody does that, this order starts to become final, and you should get a copy by email or by regular mail within about 2 weeks. If you don't have one, call the Wichita Falls AG's office and remind them to send you one. Okay, Ms. Ford?
Okay, thank you so much, Judge.
Good luck to you and ASIN.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy that birthday party.
I know, right? It's coming up.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Your Honor.